hell is
Brent,
in here when I'm sweating? Oh,
we were
sorry.
just talking about slow mornings, and they happen. Slow mornings. This is one of those slow mornings for me.
This is one of those slower mornings. Just a little bit easy for me to say.
Midway, would you say we're midway through the first third of the first quarter of the year?
Yes.
Okay. In other words, we've hit January 15th. So hello, everyone. I say we don't screw around today. We just jump right into the news.
I say same. Let's do it. Good morning. It's Thursday, January 15th, the first half of the first third of the first quarter. We're tracking a historic consolidation in the edtech market that will change how your organization buys content. But first, we start with the breaking news that is shaking up the industry this morning. If you thought the platform wars were over, think again. In a move that creates a $2.5 billion juggernaut, Coursera and Udemy have agreed to an all-stock merger. This isn't just about size, it's about the battle for the enterprise. For years, L&D leaders have had to choose. But you want the academic rigor and university partnerships of Coursera or the skill-based, instructor-driven agility of Udemy. Which one do you want? According to the announcement, the merger is driven by the need for massive scale to fuel AI investment. For you, the buyer, this signals a future where best of breed might be replaced by one-stop shop. We expect pricing models to shift significantly by Q3. If you have a renewal coming up with either vendor, my advice, pause and reevaluate. You now have leverage.
That's a good one to start with. I think that
Didn't
was.
we already talk about it though?
We did. We talked about it in like November, I think, or December. It was one of those ers.
It feels like it wasn't that long ago.
Yeah. Yeah, it was an like it wasn't. I know it was in October.
Well, maybe it was just announced, but maybe they haven't. Maybe this is just about it. They're announcing that the deal is all stock. I don't know.
Well, what I like about it, and I'm trying to learn these hook things, but it was like, here's the thing that's going to happen. But before we get into that, let's do this, which kind of creates this tension. And then it's like, but wait, there's more, or something, like as you get toward the end, like these little things that people who are really good at writing copy, these things that they can do to help pull you along in the story.
Yeah.
And that is one of those things. It's one of those things I'm working on getting better at.
Well, it's interesting that Gemini is pretty good at it. I don't think as I read through all of these over the days, I do realize there needs to be a sort of a different flow, but my next thing is to figure out how to help it rewrite in a different voice. And I'm working on that, but we don't need to talk about that.
Yeah.
I don't know how many people are concerned about this whole Coursera Udemy merge thing, or how many of them really care. So maybe we just move on to the next one.
Well, so Sarah White, shout out to her. It looks like she may have reopened up her consulting and advisory practice. She was with SAP for a little bit. I haven't talked to her recently, and we're due to catch up. She, in a post yesterday, if you think that the merger and acquisition, hey Craig, hey Wendy, the merger and acquisition market is heating up in this space, specifically around it, and she covers learning HR tech, right? She said, you have no idea. And like, it's just basically it's much bigger than the hook that she was putting out there, or the kind of the suspense that she was building out there. So it's going to be much bigger than you expect. And I would imagine, if you think about it, it makes sense, because you've got all these organizations who've decided, we can shrink. our people, and we can optimize by pulling together groups of other things and build our customer base where we've struggled either holding on to our customer
Yeah.
base, find new customers by doing it through acquisition. And that was a Skillsoft model way back when. Skillsoft acquired uh, uh, NetG. They acquired SmartForce. They acquired Element K. Um, SmartForce was one of the first ones that they got, and yeah, it's going to be some interesting times, which means that there should be some good opportunity to kind of thrive in this space for the next couple of years. Um, um, Relative to the amount of attention it's going to get, which kind of ties to that conversation we were having yesterday about executive presence and building your business acumen to improve the engagement that you have there. So I think they all kind of tie together. But back to the news.
Yeah, well, I'll just add a piece to that in all of the conversations I've been having lately with other folks in the industry, I hear the exact same thing.
Mm,
So the buzz behind the scenes is is strong with merger talks, and yeah, whatever happened to the few that were announced at the end of last year, those were just the first shot.
mm.
There's going to be a lot more happening for sure. Yeah. Okay. So part two, moving on to our innovation desk. We often talk about gamification as a buzzword, but one retailer is showing us exactly what the ROI looks like. Anchors, sorry, that's the part you're not supposed to read. Sprouts Farmers Market revealed data this week from the NRF Big Show that should be a wake-up call for anyone still assigning 45-minute e-learning modules. They've scrapped the long-form content entirely for their associates. Instead, they've rolled out bite-sized games. The result, it's not just engagement, it's performance. The data shows a direct correlation between these micro learning moments and improved associate performance on the floor. The takeaway here is granular. Stop training for the sake of completion. Start training for the in between moments. If your content can't be consumed in 3 minutes while waiting for a register to reboot, it's probably too long for the front line.
We need a bingo card. Or at least I need to put words up on the board, and just every time the new one comes up, we just like cross it off the list or check the box or do something like that. It's good. It's good. Micro learning is bad.
Well, yes. Well, this one's a mix though, too, right? We've got gamification.
Yes.
We've got micro learning. We've got bite-sized. But the interesting thing about this one is that they are bite-sized games, so they're blending the two together.
Yeah.
And it's also an innovation. This apparently is something that hasn't occurred before to anybody, and Sprouts has innovated this.
How familiar are you with like mobile games?
Pretty familiar. I mean, I don't play a lot of them, but
like old ones like the Clash Royale and that kind
oh
of
yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
Now they're like the word games where it's like get a couple of words and then you got to choose the letters to spell out a couple of words, and you get points for that kind of stuff. Or there's some ones that are kind of like it's not really Tetris, but you put all the balls in the same line and then the balls disappear, like these little things that just kind of.
I'm a tower defense kind of guy myself.
So Jen's really into doing the mobile games, just a way to kind of let her brain go. And she struggled with implementing the game plan stuff that we do. And one of the things I'm pushing across the team is we have to eat our own dog food, drink our own champagne, do our own stuff. Like if we're not using it, but how could we be out there talking about this stuff? So the thing that we did from a gamification perspective is took out a bunch of poker chips and put them out on the island that we've got in the kitchen, and in 2 mason jars, and we gave values to each of those chips. So each time you do one of the things that was in your game plan, one of the tasks, not the strategy, but the the checklist type thing, you do that, you toss a chip in the mason jar. If you do something for somebody else, they can toss a chip into the mason jar. So there's both a kind of a relationship thing and a doing the work kind of thing. And then if you hit on all of your chips in a day, so the, you know, 50 squats, 50 rows, 50 kettlebell swings, you know, whatever that thing is that you put out there. And
Yeah.
I'll share these periodically on like Twitter and LinkedIn if anybody is wondering what those check boxes are. Like any of the, so you hit on those, then you get like a double up, like a special poker chip to add in. But we're doing this as a very what would you call it? Like analog version. It's almost like what's the thing that you slide to the, and Craig's yelling at the camera. Both for me chasing squirrels and talking about abacuses, but like there's there is something to it where if you can earn rewards for doing something, it can be interesting. And then if you can get a jackpot for doing all of the things, it can be super interesting. And if it's publicly shown, whether anybody who comes over to the house knows what it is or not, and if anybody asks, we'll just tell them. But like it's out there, then it can be engaging and it becomes more than just the checklist that I've got up on the
Yeah.
whiteboard. So I think that I'm a big fan of the gamification point incorporated. I just think a lot of them screwed up. Like
Yeah.
the
I
game,
think it's a misnomer. I don't think it should be called gamification. I was listening to a podcast yesterday. Um, it was Cody Sanchez was interviewing a woman that does research on the psychology and stuff of um, trust and making decisions and all that kind of stuff. And she
okay,
mentioned she called it the Seinfeld rule or something like that. And it was basically just he would every morning he would go practice his bits when he was first becoming a comedian. He would go into the small clubs and just every day and just
yeah,
and work, or that was like his workout. It was like he'd work out the bits, right? And a lot of comedians do that, but he would have a calendar on the wall, and every day he did it, he'd just put a big red X on
cool,
it. And if he started to see too many empty spots, he'd know that he needed to move along. Well, everybody talks about that you know, how those visual cues, those, you know, putting it on the wall. Everybody's got a name for it. I was curious that she had discovered the name, that it was a Seinfeld thing, but I think just in general, she had the science behind it and all that kind of stuff. She's like, it gives you the dopamine hit of, hey, I did it. And so, you know, seeing it, you get that success reward, no matter how small it is, even though it's just a red checkbox. People are like, what? Dopamine hit for a red checkbox? And it's like, yeah, no, it's legit. If you've never done it before, it's like, it's legit. You do feel good about it, you know, at completing a task, and then and seeing those things build up over time, you start to really not want to have a blank spot. You know, you start to feel bad when there's a blank spot there. So, anyways, there was a lot of stuff about it, but for anybody trying to create a habit, something that you're doing every day, that's one thing. And we were talking about the push-up challenge, and my first thought was, that's why I'm struggling. I don't have a calendar on
do
my
it, do it, do
wall.
it, do it. And then the other thing is don't make it a check or an X. Fill in the box. Just go through the act of filling in the box and you'll see it change even more. Like it will move from the, ooh, it's just this quick hit of, hey, I get to check these things off, and I'm just kind of going through the thing of checking off. You're actually going in and you're drawing inside the box, and like that's why I moved. If you look at older versions of what I've done with the game plan and documentation and how
Mhm.
to share that, all of that kind of stuff to keep those things moving along. And if you want to change, this is the way to do it. Like it works. You can keep screwing around and doing everything else and looking for some other way to make it work. Get back to the basics, write it down, give yourself a checkbox. Stickers can work. That act Wendy, just try this, and Brent, try this, and maybe here we go. Here's your next to do, because I keep adding new to dos every day, and I know that we've gotten
What
any of
would
it
live with
done.
Brent and Mike be without a to do at the end of the
But
day?
the like, just try fill in the actual checkbox, and then you can even get a little bit fun with it and fill in the checkbox with different colors over the course of a period of time. And if you follow my Twitter, you'll see the ones that I've done relative to some of the gym stuff the workout stuff that I was sharing with Brent a little bit earlier.
Yeah,
Well, I mean, so it could be. Come on, Craig, it can be anything. It can be anything you want. The world is your oyster. If it works for you, keep doing it. If it doesn't work for you, look at the data
I was
and
going to
try
say
something different.
so. Part of it was she reminded me, and I've known this before, but the same lady reminded me of the research on using your hand to write things.
Mm,
There's all sorts of scientific evidence. There's all sorts of research that's been done about when you hand write
yeah.
something. There's a trigger between the motion of your hand in order to do that and your brain, and tied to memory, which is why people that type when they're doing notes, if you're in college or
Yeah.
whatever, high school, whatever, and you're listening to a lecture and all you're doing is typing your notes, you are likely not remembering. You're just doing some stuff, and you're putting words on your computer because you're never going to go back and read them or do the things. If you sit there with a pen and paper and you're writing, you're being intentional about what you're writing because it's slower, and so you're only doing it, you're connecting, you're thinking about creating that artifact on the paper. There's the location of it too, which I hadn't heard about before, but she was like, you start to remember what part of the page that particular element was on. There's that visual cue of, to the recall. It's, oh, I remember writing that on page 2 in the middle, right there, at that point of the lecture or whatever. So yeah, I'm a big believer in the not using digital tech, Craig. But for some, like, to Mike's point, if it works for you, do it.
So this is a Remarkable Paper Pro move, the smaller version of the Remarkable that they launched last year. It's more expensive. I mean, it's worth what I paid for it. There's a lot of value in it. It was like $500 if you go all in with all of this stuff to ship and do all that kind of crap, right? But um, and I thought I was just going to hold on to it for 90 days, do their 90-day trial, and send it back. The other thing I thought was the reason why I was going to really value it is because I could write in color, and on my Kindle Scribe, I can't write in color.
Mm.
Um, what I thought was I was going to be able to write in color. The reality was it was so much better. The Slack integration with this is so good that I can transfer notes, and it can read my handwriting that peaked in second grade and convert it to text. So now I've got the handwriting version, the beauty of being able to write that stuff down. It gets converted into text. They can go into our ecosystem, then it can be shared. And now the knowledge can be moved from what I write down when I'm on an airplane or drinking coffee or whatever, and get out to the family, and we have those things out. So again, be thankful you don't live in my household and you're not part of this business. Like that it is, there was, I was missing it. And the other thing that I saw, just kind of building on this, it's part of why I do those whiteboard sessions. And Brent, you've been involved in when we whiteboard together.
Yeah.
That's different than if you're talking to me and I'm just writing notes down on a piece of paper. And we've done that in the Google Doc thing, which is helpful relative to carrying things on. But there's something about seeing the hand start to put real things up onto paper, up onto a whiteboard. So that's cool. Send me a link to the podcast. I'd like to listen to it, because I'd like to be able to lean back on some more of the research rather than my anecdotal evidence, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
But
She's
so
got a book.
Craig,
She was on the podcast. She was pitching a book. I think it's called Big Trust or something like that.
okay.
But anyways, so we talked about the breaking news. Segment A. Segment B was gamification with Sprouts. The only thing I'll add to that too is if anybody listening, or if anybody knows of somebody who's on that team at Sprouts. It would be cool to talk with them and to hear about it. I know we joke about the buzzwords and the buzzword bingo and all of that kind of stuff, but I do understand how legit that is. What, no matter what you call it, no matter, micro learning, micro buzzing, micro this, that, or innovative micro 45 bite-sized gamification, blah blah blah. Doesn't really matter what you call it. It's it it's meeting your employees where they're at, and it's giving them just what they need when they need it. Bob Mosher would be proud. I wouldn't be shocked if he hadn't consulted on this project, the 5 moments of need, or if whoever did this project didn't go to one of his workshops, or or hire them directly to help them, create something like this. So, as much fun as we like to have, laughing at the buzzword bingo and whatnot, this is legit. I do know it, and it would be fun to talk to somebody who did it. So, part three is our team
Was
back.
it Sprouts Market or was it a different Sprouts?
Sprouts Market, yeah.
Yeah.
Sprouts. It says
They're
Sprouts Farmers Market.
Yeah, there's a they're a Phoenix-based company. We'll find somebody.
Are they really?
There. Yeah,
Wow. Okay. Yeah.
we'll,
Definitely.
and they were connected. Do you remember the old Ed Plus stuff that was going on over at ASU?
Mm-hmm.
I think
Yeah.
Orlick was involved with that for a little bit and all that. So
Yeah.
anyway, we'll find somebody. So we've got a couple of different things. One, I want to call bullshit
I
on
applied, I applied for a job there once at Ed Plus, and God bless her, this little girl, she probably was a freshman straight out of high school working there. She was like, "You seem a little overqualified for this."
That is awesome. You know who worked there
Her
for
voice
years?
sounded like one of my kids. She sounded like she was 13.
That's awesome. Do you remember Alan Fisher? Intel.
No.
So Alan Fisher was an Intel guy. He was involved at Intel U for a while in just kind of different places. So he worked back
So
when
many names sound familiar to me. I hate to go, oh yeah, I totally remember.
it would have been like with like Jeff McBride and maybe Lori Bennett and those folks back in
It
that
might have been,
stage of Intel U, not
might have
the
been before my time at
but
Intel U.
maybe so
That was one of
well,
the last orgs I was in before I left.
he worked at Ed Plus, that he left Intel to go do some work over at Ed Plus. It was kind of interesting. It was so anyway, back to the news.
Back to the news. So yeah, so we did those first two, the breaking news. We did the technology segment, and this is our human side. Let's talk about the human side of the equation. It's January, which means performance review season is upon us. And frankly, your employees hate your rating scale. A new study released just 48 hours ago confirms what many of us suspected. Employees view narrative-based reviews as significantly fairer than numerical scores. Workers reported that when they receive a 3 out of 5, they shut down. But when they receive a story about their year, they engage. This connects back to the human in the loop trend we're seeing in 2026. As AI takes over the metrics, the human manager's role is no longer to be the calculator, it's to be the narrator. If your managers can't tell the story of their team's performance, no amount of software will fix your culture.
What if you use the software to write the narrative?
Right. Well, so this would be the interesting thing. If you are, this is the cool thing about AI, right? And the fact that it can summarize. If you're a good manager throughout the year, you're making notes about, or somehow you're collecting all of the things that are going right, the things that are going wrong, how things got fixed, who did what. You're starting an archive, and as you're creating that digital content, it should be tagged. It should be going into some sort of system that the AI is consuming, so that at the end of the year, you should be able to say, hey AI, or build an agent or something that says, write a review in my voice for, Jane Doe. And it should be able to pull from all of that stuff and whip up a pretty fancy narrative.
And based on all of my interactions with Jane Doe, tell me where she falls on what her disc profile is and what her preferences are for communication, and write the and write the review in a way where that lands properly or something to that effect.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
there's so
Exactly.
many.
Write it in a way that will be best received by her in her learning style.
There,
Oh, Craig's head just exploded.
it's
Yeah.
cool. That's
Well,
awesome.
no, but
Good.
this is where it's going, right?
Yeah,
I
this is
mean,
good. Can
yeah,
you imagine how much time you could save in doing all of that, and how much everybody feels better about it?
yeah.
Like,
Well,
man.
this is the thing that I've told people about the AI stuff, that this is where all of this stuff is going. There will be your disc profile or whatever kind of profile you do,
Sure.
and your activity throughout the day will be put into a little profile about you. There will be a what the business needs, what your job role, the expectations are in that system, in that, and the AI will consume all of that and be able to help you throughout the day. And as you put stuff in, it will be taking into consideration who you are, what the work is you're supposed to be doing, and what is the current state of the business, and what you should be able to just sit down and say, what should I do today? And it should say, oh, well, according to all the things that are in the system right now, you should take care of these things first. And because your profile says XYZ, maybe you should go get a cup of coffee before you get started.
There you go. Maybe go take a walk around the block
Yeah, go
before you
take a
get on
walk
that
around the
call.
building,
Like,
grab a
here's
cup
a
of
little
coffee.
bit of help, but you tend to be in a better mood after that cup of
pet,
coffee.
pet a puppy. Uh, you know, uh,
The I I got into disc when we were working with Crystal, Drew D'Agostino and Luke Thomas and the folks that were when they started Crystal Knows way back when. It's now Crystal is the name of the company, but um, when I looked at the disc profile, and I wasn't really familiar with disc way back then, and this is only like 2015, 2016. Like, I just did not a big behavioral assessment or personality assessment or any the assessment type person. Um, Primarily because I have this limiting belief that people get put into boxes. And then once you're in that box inside an organization, once your color is blue, you can't interact with the yellows, because if you do, it's going to make all the greens really unhappy. And then before you know it, the reds are going to be pissed off and whatever. But like, you get put in these boxes. Um, when you read all of the different um, words associated with each of the letters, I want to be an I. Like, I want to be influential, fun, person who helps people move forward, all that. I am a D, and that is it. Like, and when I get into high stress modes, I'm really D. And if it's not stressful, that I move away from I and I move into C. So I'm like DC, and no, and that is I am what I am, and that's what I am. As much as I'd like to stunt double as an I or be an I at some point in time, when the stress gets turned up, I pull back into the D, which is good to know. But here's the thing about it is, there are a lot of people who will go out and they'll fill out those assessments and they'll try to be something they're not, because that's what they want to be.
mhm.
Time, if the tool is kind of looking at this and evaluating and saying, hey, you know what, your behavior really, you want to be this, but you're really acting like this. Now you can go through and say, current state versus desired state, what are some of the things that I can go in there and change and want to change? Me, I just decided to just embrace the fact that I'm a D, and I'm happy that K is not one of the options.
Yeah, I don't remember what my disc profile is. I've done similar ones recently, and I hate them. I'll just add that. I've been in far too many situations where those things have been weaponized, um, and used by people who don't understand them well enough to apply that knowledge of the people around them in the way that it was intended. I'll just put it that way. I'm trying really hard to be really nice.
Yeah. Well, see, there you go. You get nice with Brent, and you'll get very direct with me. So
It's just these are the things that you just, it's human nature, right? I think AI is going to help solve this problem. If you're going to be giving somebody profiles, if you want to, if you've got a profile and you just give it to AI is not going to have any emotional attachment and not going to have an agenda unless it's given an agenda by the business or somebody like that. But it's just going to shoot straight with you and just say, hey, this is what it says. Here's a summary of the whole thing. Anyways, yeah, we don't need to go into that.
I've been late on throwing comments up on the screen. Sorry, Wendy and Craig. Thanks for adding adding comments in here and kind of going through. We see them on the side.
Yeah.
Wendy said that she's not done the disc one before. Either she hasn't weaponized something or she hasn't done the disc one. I'll say that she hasn't done the disc one. Don't weaponize them. It's amazing how many times that happens. Absolutely amazing how many times that happens.
Yeah, and to Wendy's point, that goes back to tracking. Most people don't keep records that well. That's the interesting part too, is that I think as AI becomes more prevalent, the tracking, the work will be digital, and that's the track and so it will just automatically be tracked. So I think when we talk about writing things down and then digitizing it in one way or another, or people having to make the decision to do something, I think that's part of the transition from where we're at now into the future stuff. But I think at some point, whatever human element is left will be digital or will be collected automatically. And if you're doing the work that you're doing is being collected, and how you're doing it, how fast you're doing it, how much sincerity you have when you're talking on the phone. Your phone calls will be all recorded. If you're customer facing, every conversation you have is going to be recorded, and then someone's going to be analyzing it, or not, the AI is going to be, all that kind of stuff. So everything's just going to get collected and consumed and digitized. It's just it's an inevitability. What did Thanos say?
I am inevitable.
I am inevitable. Yes, AI is Thanos without the fingers will be snapped, and instead of half of the workforce being deleted, it will be 3/4.
So to Wendy's point, and I think this is an important one, depending on the industry you're in and the market you're in, I've worked with low tech organizations where we're doing distribution, installation, construction type work, and those kind of conversations aren't being recorded yet. There is technology that would allow it to be recorded. The humans in the loop aren't going to be comfortable recording it. Like it's not going to be part of I don't see it being part of their workflow for a while. And there's some pretty cool tools. Like, you can get those call recorders. Like the ones that scare the crap out of me are the ones that are pens, where they're like, take this pen in there and you can start writing it and it will capture all of the audio that's going on. So now we're going to go ahead and just record people without their knowledge. Like, and in certain states that's illegal. Like there are laws against doing those kind of things. So be careful about that kind of stuff. But at the same time, I always expect that I'm being recorded. And I know it because when I say stuff out loud, it shows up in Jen's Instagram feed as something that Mike might want for Christmas.
Linda and I were just talking about that last night. It's like he mentioned something about taking a vacation in Italy, and 10 minutes later, she's picking up her phone to answer a text, and opens up Facebook or something like that, and an instant ad from a travel agent about going to Italy. Yeah, it's scary. I just want to turn everything off. I want to build a Faraday cage in my house so that when Linda and I need to have conversations, we can just go stand in there and
We just go for walks and we don't bring our phones. Like it's
You're still being listened to. Yeah, there's
well,
no.
the rings,
Somebody else's
all the
phone
people
is
in the
listening for you.
neighborhood, and all of that other kind of stuff, and everybody knows where we're walking. And
Yeah, the satellites and
at
everything.
at some point, I'm gonna get someone's gonna send me well, like a text. It's gonna be like those, "I can't do that, Dave," or "Hello, Dave." It's gonna be like, "Hey, Mike, it looks like you're doing good on your walks. Nice work." If you
Hopefully, it's
so
all positive stuff when that great overlord is sending us
gonna be positive.
random messages.
There's
Yeah.
gotta be positive stuff, like I
It could be. Yeah,
just watch the Lego
let's
movie.
spin this to positive.
Watch
That's a
the Le
great.
watch the Lego movie. There you go, another call to action. So
Yeah,
we
there you
Almost
go.
Famous is one that we've gotta watch, and the
Yeah,
Lego movie
for sure.
is one we have to watch, and if you can make it through the day with everything is awesome, not stuck in your head after watching the Lego movie, then good on you.
Everything is awesome. Hey, you know what we haven't done or talked about relative to the news thing? By the way, I really liked how the whole news thing went today and sticking in the conversation after each segment. I like that.
Cool.
That's good. We should do that more often. But the
I
unselected
didn't like how many
story.
times you said "should." I thought we were eliminating that word. You said "should" like 90 times.
Oh, did I? Oh, dang
So
it.
anyway, now we're gonna go back to positive. Back to you, Brent. Sorry.
The stories that hit the cutting room floor.
Okay.
Mind Tools Kineo launches Global AI Innovation Hub, a major move for responsible AI development in L&D. That would be, I believe that's Cami Bean. She works for Kineo, has for many years. I have to talk to her about that. I didn't know they were doing that. That's interesting. AI rework crisis. Workday data suggests 40% of AI productivity gains are lost to rework due to skill gaps. That's interesting. Legal risks of deep fakes. Littler report. Littler. Is that they actually used AI? That's a word. Littler. Littler. Wow. Okay. Oh, maybe that's a person's name or it's a company name that writes reports.
Could be a lot.
I don't know why I'm stuck on this, but it
Squirrel.
sounds like something I would say, and one of the grammar Nazis would you know digitally punch me in the face for it. So the Littler report on how deep fake harassment is becoming a tier 1 HR compliance issue.
Deep fake harassment.
Yeah. Oh, it's the part where it's like put a bikini on at Grok add a bikini, that kind of that whole meme thing that was going around.
It's still going on.
It's
It's
so funny.
insane. Like
It's so funny. Yeah.
well, what was really good is they were like, "See, Grok shouldn't be able to do this," and then somebody will come in and be like, "People have been able to do this with Photoshop forever." Like,
Yeah, I know. And it should be the only thing Grok should be able to do because it's just so funny. Anyways, okay, Gen Z tension. New report highlights generational friction in the workplace is peaking in 2026. Gen Z tension. New report highlights generational friction in the workplace is peaking in 2026. Now we're only halfway through the first third of the first quarter. So how do we know we're peaking at anything? And they don't give me a link to where these stories came from. So I need to update my instructions and say, hey, all that stuff that hits the cutting room floor, you need to add a link as to where you're getting this bullshit from. Anyway,
and say it just like
anything
that.
regarding generation
like that.
stuff is in my mind is sus. Independent contractor rule. New DOL rule arriving at the White House could impact how L&D hires fractional instructional designers.
Oh, huh.
Has anybody heard of that?
Fractional's been big and is growing and all of that kind of stuff. So it's kind of interesting how you put. I mean, I guess you can be. My view of the world is that work will be fractional at some point in time.
It's been heading that way, and it's been discussed since the 70s that this
No kidding.
yeah,
70s. Oh,
the independent contractor. Tom Peters talked about it in Search of Excellence,
yeah.
and he referenced somebody else mentioning it in that book that everybody will be a independent contract. Everybody is their own brand. Everybody that this whole idea that, and now we just call it fractional, but it basically just means instead of working for one company, you're going to take your skills and the things that you do, and you're going to do it for multiple companies, and splitting up your time and just be fractional. A fractional part of your time will be delivered to each company, right? So
This is awesome, and Wendy hits on this. I'm gonna throw this one up here because I've had this debate with people. Um, but I know it's shocking that I would debate with people.
you
And
you must be a D.
so the the um, there are people who will tell you what fractional should mean to you and what fractional is. Like a fractional revenue leader, like the way that I make money, is as a fractional revenue leader. I'll go into multiple organizations at different points in time, and they'll get basically a share of me. So think of a big pizza. If I got a big pizza pie and I've got 8 slices, everybody gets a slice. And some people can get 2 slices, some people can get 3 slices. It just depends on how many, what you're willing to, what work needs to be done and what you can invest in. But you
Mhm.
get me. Now, you don't get a fraction of my brain, you get a fraction of my being inside your organization for a period of time. And so that's one way to look at it. Another way to look at it is it's project based work.
Mhm.
So you come in, again, like that fraction can be a project that you come in and you do work. There are some people who will look at this and say fractionals get their hands dirty and do the work. And then there are some people who say, no, fractionals just advise. There's no just, and everybody has their own opinion about it. And everybody has a different perspective. Everybody has something different that they would like to get out of it. If it sounds interesting to you, then the thing that I would recommend is that you go through and you build out your own definition around how you want to operate your business and what services you want to provide out, and determine how many companies you can work with at a given point in time because they have
Yeah, that's
fractional
yeah.
access to you. And the best way that I mean, the way that I like to describe it is it's just like a pizza. It's like, you've got, let's say you have a pizza with 5 slices, or you have a pizza with 8 slices, or a pizza with however many different slices, and you're just taking a fraction of it and applying it to that piece. And that's the piece that comes up, Craig, is a lot of people will say, isn't that just a consultant? Well, then some other people will say consultants don't do anything because what they do is they just take their old thing, blow it off, and give you the new thing inside your organization, and now you've got the
Yeah.
playbook that works for
It
you
it
because it worked with whatever. So
yeah.
it can be consulting, it can be advising, it can be project work. The world is your oyster. It can
Yeah,
be.
it's just a word. I think, to simplify the conversation, and when you're talking about it from this perspective, from a legal perspective, from the Department of Labor, and rulings and all that kind of stuff, it's basically just the difference between an exempt employee or a full-time employee that gets fully burdened, right? The you have to pay as a owner of a company, you need to pay insurance. You need to, they are full-time and they belong to you. They are they are the one resource. You've hired them to do a particular thing. And then there's everything else. Doesn't matter what you call it, if you're consultant, fractional, whatever, anybody that's not full-time is what they're talking about here. So you're either a full-time working for one company, full-time instructional designer, or you are an instructional designer that does instructional design projects for multiple different companies, whether you call yourself a contractor, a consultant, a fractional instructional designer, doesn't matter at all. It just means you're not there full time and they are not responsible for you. You have autonomy and you have much more control. That's it. So
Craig, I can cut pizza however I want to. Don't tell me how I can cut pizza.
yeah, what if I order a pizza that's square?
Just to be clear, not all pizzas have 8 slices. Good pizzas have 8 slices.
It has to be 10 slices because it's an easier number to work with. Eight's a tough number. I go with 10.
It's 8. So then the Wendy on this one, I think Wendy's point is really important on the assumptions. I don't know that everybody will be fractional, but I do think that there will be more opportunities for people to own their own employability, which is was that an Intel thing? At least that's what Sarah Peabody.
But they did that.
You own your own employability, right? So they'll be able to own their own employability and diversify the way they go to work because they can come in and solve for specific things at a specific time. There will still be people that are out there that is not for, that they want the stability of, I don't have to go out and hunt. I'm determined. So every Friday we eat pizza. When we do the pizza, I am cutting it into 5 slices and I'm sending a picture to Craig and I'm posting it socially, just to mess with him. So thank you, Craig. Now I've got all these to-dos. I think there's going to be more opportunity for people to be specialized to go in there and take care of it, especially as the employers move more toward more generalist inside their business. Like there's this move that's happening out there where you're hearing more and more people about the blending of work and the shading of the margins, and people are moving into more having to do more with less kind of thing. People are starting to generalize a little bit more. Well, as you start to generalize, you're going to need specialists to come in and take care of certain things. And that's where a fractional can come in and take care of that. And that, and this is the challenge I run into often in contract negotiations with people. Well, what's your hourly rate? Well, first off, I don't work hourly. My brain doesn't shut off. Like it just keeps going. Like if you were inside here, you'd be in trouble. Like there are so many things that are going on in here. Sometimes it sounds like carnival music, but there's a lot of stuff that's happening. I'm thinking about your business when I'm walking the golf course, or when I'm going on a walk, or when I'm working out, or when I have to stop doing something because I get stuck and I need to let my brain go someplace else. I'm working on your business, and that's why fractional suits me, and probably why I like to watch movies with closed captions on too. But that's also because sometimes so anyway,
Wendy
you
said,
get that picture.
Wendy says thank you, but that assumes that more will be fractional contract versus FTE, and I think it totally depends on the business. But you're absolutely right, Wendy. The businesses will be built and structured differently, or they will be restructured. Or when you see at the end of the year a whole bunch of gigantic companies laying off 30,000 of their employees, or 10%, 20% of their employee base, they are doing a reset. And they decide, okay, do we hire people back on now? Do we hire them as I mean, it's just it'll be it'll be something we have to just look at over the years. We got a few more stories to run through here that I think might interest you guys before we run out of time, and I'm gonna hit them all up really fast, and then I'll let you guys decide which one we should talk about. So, Media Zoo acquires uncertainty experts. Hold that thought. REI's green vest strategy. 1 in 4 candidates are fake. Walmart EEOC settlement. 2035 market forecast.
2025 market forecast.
No,
Can
no,
I start?
2035.
Oh, 2035. I was thinking, wow, can I start forecasting what happened last year? Um,
Yes, we've got
the one that
MediaZoo
jumped out at me, the
acquires
one that made me
uncertainty
laugh, and we'll wait
expert.
for this will just create space for the comments to come through. But
Yeah.
is the 1 in 4 applicants are fake? Is that what?
Gartner predicts 25% of job profiles will be fake by 2028.
What was the? Did it say profiles, applicants? What was? Maybe I misheard it.
It says job profiles. So Gartner predicts 25% of job profiles will be fake by 2028. But the headline for that one is 1 in 4 candidates fake.
That's kind of weird that the headline doesn't necessarily match the body.
Well, I think it's the job seeker profile. I think if they were talking about the job description, the AI would have said JD or job
Okay.
description.
So what's interesting is there's also buzz around a lot of the LinkedIn job postings that are out there being fake. Like
Oh
they're
yeah,
different ways to just kind of grab your information and then figure out different things that they can do with it. So this is cool. We've got fake running against fake. So we got the fake
oh yeah.
humans against the fake
Yep.
job postings. And then what's going to be awesome is the jobs report will say there's X number of open jobs that are available, and it's all just going to be one
It's all
giant.
bullshit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is interesting. So, a critical compliance story regarding disability accommodations. That's the Walmart EEOC settlement one. I don't know if anybody's been following that. I remember hearing something about it, but I've never heard anything about it. I don't know if Craig or Wendy are just thinking really hard, or it's just taking 10 minutes for their comments to come through. I don't know if they want a particular one, but I don't even know. I've heard of MediaZoo before, but I've never heard of the uncertainty experts, a fascinating merger between L&D production and behavioral science.
I haven't heard of either of them.
That might be something interesting to look into later. The 2035 market forecast, e-learning market projected to hit 2 trillion by 2035.
Wow. It's a big number.
I don't understand how they would get to that. I'm going to call bullshit on that. I mean, with AI, I guess it's going to have to depend on how you define e-learning.
Well, and what resources are necessary to move the market? Like,
yeah, how do they define e-learning?
energy, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. REI's green vest strategy. The CEO states human employees are the key differentiator against AI competitors. So AI is sticking with the humans.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's weird. It is so cool to be alive today.
It is.
It is. We get to see some really cool things, and we get to see people in very different camps around this. It's like, hey, this is what it's going to be, and this is why you're wrong, and this is what it's going to be, and this is why you're wrong. And I remind you of the Philip Seymour Hoffman piece in Charlie Wilson's War, and he talks about the monk, and it was either the monk or the farmer or whatever, but it was basically the will see component. So if you just do a search for Charlie Wilson's War, Philip Seymour Hoffman, and we'll see, and you'll get the video. And I think that's the piece is we'll see. What's the thing that's continued to persist throughout all of these technology changes? There are a lot of people who will tell you, who predict the future, and a lot of them will be wrong. There will be a lot of people who will tell you they predicted the future and tell you that they were right. And those things will happen. And what you get to do, because you've got access to so much information and so many different resources, is make your own choices. And the thing I would suggest is do what you're made for. And if you're struggling with figuring out what you're made for, give us a call. I say give Brent and me a call, because both are happy to have those kind of conversations with folks.
Happy to help anybody that's out there doing the things that they need to do. If you guys need anything, I'm just going to harken back as we wrap up here, because we were running later than late. Craig mentioned creating a list, and I would absolutely love to do that. The buzzword lists. He's got tin can and gamification. Oh, did you just drop off, Mike?
Yeah, I'm.
Oh, you're futzing with your camera.
No,
anyway,
my camera's futzing with me. That's awesome.
Okay.
It's the AI overlord being like, look, hey guys, here we go.
Yeah, it must be time to go. Anyways, I do want to create a spreadsheet of terms and whatnot, because it reminded me that while I didn't get enough people signed up to do a demo of the workshop I wanted to do before the end of the year, I am still doing it. I am still building it. And I'm going to do a webinar for the e-learning brothers scheduled for April. And so I think that would be really cool to be a part of something like that. So I'm pulling together all sorts of stuff like that to talk about a little bit of the history of L&D, and how anybody that's new to the industry, and I'm calling new anybody that's been in the industry for under 10 years, you may or may not know why a lot of things are the way they are in the industry. So I'm going to spin you up as fast as I possibly can to be more effective in having conversations with other people in the industry that have been here longer, so you know why they are the way they are. So that's that.
There we go. Craig says that it took 55 minutes for the F-bomb, and I didn't even realize I said it. So there we go. On my side, the thing that I've got coming up on the 27th, we're going to do a monthly one of these. I've got a decision-making webinar, Decide Like a Leader. That is on Tuesday, the 27th. If you check out my stuff on LinkedIn or Twitter, you'll see that X, I will call it, at some point in time as we're kind of working through it. Great conversation. Agree with you. I think the integrating the conversation into the news made for a bit of fun. As a reminder, we do this Monday through Thursday at 6 o'clock in the morning, Arizona time. And right now that is in the Mountain time zone. So that's 5 o'clock Pacific, 8 o'clock Eastern. We do that Monday through Thursday, so we will not be on tomorrow. Craig, I will send you the picture of the 5-slice pizza, and we'll have a little bit of fun.
We'll go from there. And don't forget, everybody, training is an event, learning is a process, technology supports them both, and performance is our ultimate goal.
You can find your catalyst at findmycatalyst.com. Thanks, everyone.
Adios, everybody.